Karlies.
Rob George here with you, aka VHS82 apostrophe with week number 572. Yeah, I had luck. Sorry, long day. I thought I knew what I was doing this week and next week. We got 2 random weeks in a row as we head towards theme week at the end of the month, October, in which we'll celebrate our mandatory, essential Halloween watches. What do we watch on Halloween? It'll be a bit of a taste of that at the end, but now we're faced with 2 random weeks, and I knew what I wanted to do, and I may do it at some point, but quite frankly, as busy as October is, and I forgot, I just did not have the time to invest in the areas I wanted to go today, and that is Dune Part 1 and Part 2. I just didn't. So instead I thought, just get into the October season with something a little more spooky, a little more fun. And I noticed no one has ever reviewed the original 1932 Mummy. And I'm going to make this kind of short. I know how much content's out there floating around, and you can't go everywhere and take in everything. So hoping if I make this short enough, you'll take a consider and listen. This movie, which we're all familiar with, the Universal monsters, right? Karl Fruend is the guy who directed it. He's notable because of 2 things. He's the guy who developed the 3-camera system in how we record TV in a modern way, which I thought was interesting. But he's all the cinematographer, famed films like Metropolis. I thought that was curious. So here he is directing an incredible masterpiece of a film. I did not write the short. Yes, it is short. The runtime down. It says back here real quick. 1 hour and 14 minutes. It does not feel. It feels more like an hour and a half film, and I say that in a good way. It takes its time. It's very, very, very deliberate. It's been a while since I sat this morning in a dark room in my movie room, turned all the lights off, and me and my boy just watched this, and I just tried to soak it in the pace that he wants to take us, and that is just from start to finish, just really soak it up. I was really amazed, amazed by this film. You believe this movie is 92 stinking years old. Stinking, pun intended, I guess. We're talking about a mummy who's yeah, interesting. 92 years old. That is amazing. And if you've had a reason to relook at, I'll say this Universal release, I really would like this on a better release. This transfer is a bit rough. But it's 92 years old. What are you gonna do, right? Just a few notable, of course, Boris Karloff, the great, the uncanny, plays our Imhotep and Ardith Bay. And I was just lost in a thought there. Zita plays our Helen, and our Ankasunamon. Yeah, I know I'm kind of butchering that, but she's our beauty in this film. She is our absolute beauty. And you can kind of see the casting parallels between this and the Brendan Fraser, say who it was in the new Mummy, 99, wasn't it? You can kind of see casting parallels, but that's about it. That is more like Indiana Jones meets the Mummy kind of thing. This is more horror. This is more deep into a lot of other neat things. Our famed archaeologist, played by Arthur Byron, and Edward von Sloan is our good old Dr. Mueller. At the heart of this is a love story that is not that much different than Dracula in a sense, right? But when you watch the original, when you go back to the original 32 film, there's some amazing things about it that you just don't get in, like with the 99 film and other Mummy films. And I was listening to a podcast the other day, and they were talking about, and I did not know this, and if you're aware of the title, exact title and reference of this, please put it down in the comments below for me. I would love to be able to find this thing and find it quick. But apparently, in comic book form, there's a series that involves Vader in a very mummy-like way, who is trying to find Padme's tomb and then attempt to resurrect her in much a way that we get from the original 32 film, The Mummy. It is an amazing story. So you get these famed archaeologists who uncovered Imhotep's tomb, bring the find back to a British museum. And of course, you got the infamous black box, or the box, right, that you're not supposed to open, that holds the curse. And of course, you got, you know, the two guys and another guy that's there as a expert in these matters, who tells them, do not open it, just go back, rebury it. You don't want to have anything to do with it. And while the two older guys are out there talking about it, the young guys inside cannot fight it anymore, and of course opens up the scroll, begins to read, and unleashes the curse. It's a great moment where he is sitting there, you know, transcribing whatever, and the mummy of course has woke, which is a great scene in of itself, and the mummy starts to walk over and slowly puts its hand on the scroll. And the guy just suddenly realizes, gets that chill or whatever, and just looks up and gets up and walks back. And he just starts to let out this really weird sort of blood-curdling laugh. And all we know about, the mummy just walks off, disappears. The only guy get in, and the guy is he's just insane. He's just left there standing. And I thought that was a curious move. I wish we saw more of that, where, well, there's, you know, in Zombie, 1979, Lucio Fulci's Zombie, there's that moment where the zombie just, you know, rises up and is towering over the poor girl, and all she can do in absolute horror is just look with her eyes gaping wide at this creature towering over her. And you just wonder, you know, why would you just not run? Well, I think we forget, if we're ever found ourselves in a moment of sheer terror, we're probably going to be frozen. It's like, you know, it's like if you're out there in the water, man, and a real shark fin is heading right at you. Chances are, you know, like the kid in Jaws, you're just going to sit there and just looking at sheer horror. And we need more of that, more. Because I think it's believable. I think it's more believable than sometimes how we see characters act or react in film. And so, of course, we find out this poor guy's been just tossed in a sign. He ends up dying, I think, actually. We never go back to him. We never go see him again. We just get these blurbs about what happened to him. And that's actually kind of terrifying in of itself, that he saw something so horrifying that this is what happens to him. Well, you know, the rest of it is really the story of Dracula in a sense. I mean, Imhotep, who is now our Ardith Bey, he is searching for Amon. Yeah, say that a bunch of times in a row. His love, which we do get a really neat flashback scene where he is showing Helen via a pull-up memory who she was and what drives him, and this is his love for her that crosses millennia, man, of just an undying love for her. And you know, she almost buys into it. And then she struggles, and then, you know, she's like, she has the spirit of Amon inside of her, and she almost has like two spirits battling out within, and who's going to win in the end, right? Is he going to be allowed, Imhotep going to be allowed to go through with the sacrifice? Basically, he's got to kill her, mummify her, resurrect her in order to bring his love back to him. And this is the part that's not selling well with Helen, which is great, I think, because it's reality. I think, like in Bram Stoker's Dracula, there was too much of that hypnotic love where it was just sort of, I'm yours, I'm yours, I'm yours. I like the idea that there was a struggle within Helen against this. And of course, David Manners, who plays the love interest who falls in love with her. But this girl, man, this girl, Zita Johann, this girl, I didn't look her up at all, but man, she's one of those just amazing actresses to look at on film. Her mannerisms, her expressions, how she carries herself, just her eyes, you can't keep your eyes off of her eyes. There's just something mysterious about her. And you get that a lot with the older actresses, right, from way back in the day. And so Ardith Bey, of course, finds her, but he needs, because of Egyptian rule rights and whatnot, he needs others to dig her up for him. And so, you know, ultimately they do. He leads them to her. They don't know who he is, though. They don't realize this is the walking mummy, who is now Ardith Bey. Boris Karloff, of course, right? And ultimately, once she is uncovered and brought to the museum, then there's this race against time. And then there's this interesting, how Helen first comes into this, I thought was interesting as well, because he doesn't initially like see her and go, "You're my lost love." It's like when he is trying to incite the incantations, the rites, the passages, and it's almost kind of like the fact that she's got Egyptian blood in her, and even though she's nowhere near where this happens, it calls out to her, and therefore she's almost called to him unknowingly from his perspective. And so their meeting is sort of a strange, almost happy accident. And I liked how that happened. I thought there was just a lot of neat little subtle ways of introducing subtly certain things and then allowing these things. And even she, in the end, as she realizes her only hope is to reach out to the goddess Isis or Osiris, in terms of who can help her against Imhotep's designs. And I thought, this is about the best, I think this is the best viewing I have ever had of this film. And I think the trick is you gotta have that quiet space. You gotta have that darkened room. Maybe it's your movie room. Maybe it's early morning if that's your time, with a cup of coffee, hot cup of coffee, and you just gotta turn all the lights off and you just gotta let it go, let it sink in, ride it to the end. And I think at the other end you find there's this great where Imhotep is using this pool of water effect where he can literally have almost like we get what George Lucas's force choke, right? He is able to just feel his way through to another place and keep someone from doing something. And so there's a lot of that neat stuff too, where it's just really kind of curious. And I'm sort of acting like I've seen this for the first time, and sort of, I guess this morning was a first time in a way. It's the first time that I really wanted to just sit and just really take it in. And it was definitely rewarding. And it's one that, again, I want to get on a better transfer. I want to definitely, if there's a 4K available, I haven't even looked, I'm sure there probably is. I definitely want to, because I'm sure that'll be the best it'll ever look. So from 1932, 92 years old, Boris Karloff and the Mummy. When's the last time you saw this one? Maybe it's time. And if you're aware of the whole comic stretch with Vader and Padme and trying all of that, drop that down for me if you want. Enjoy October, enjoy all the content on YouTube. There is tons of it. Even reviews are already starting to come up for Terrifier 3, if that's your thing. It's just enjoy the month. We know eventually it's going to come to a crashing halt, and then we will be in November with Thanksgiving, and then of course we know Christmas. But we always know we're gonna have the the 12 days of Christmas horror that a lot of people do. I don't really think I have enough in my collection to warrant that yet. But anyways, enjoy October. And to, again, all those in South Georgia, Carolina, and Florida still reeling from these last two hurricanes, all my prayers and hopes go with them as well. If there's any way I hear Samaritan's Purse is a great way to reach out and help if that's something you can do. It's been very effective from what I hear. Anyways, we always end these things off with Go Bills.
This is not a dream. Not a dream.
We might be useful to you.